So today we're looking at a ranch with the new ranch manager. We have the owner and the ranch manager. They're trying to move forward and make some changes in the herd that are needed that they see and they want to test drive. It's a simple operation. We're just looking at one cow calf enterprise, not looking at any stocker enterprises or other species, which they could. With that, we were able to make more than a 47% annual increase in profit. We have our initial plan. We consider the impacts of the management changes that we want to make. We adjust those inputs accordingly, and then we observe the changes in our reports. Very simple. Why don't you bring up some reports? Enterprise efficiency, annual grazing demands, current year profit and loss, annual profit and loss, and then annual cash flow. We're starting out with a profit of 116,437 year one. And then the way we're doing things at the moment, increasing by year 5, it'll be 139,635. So that's just status quo. The first thing we wanted to consider was putting in a crossbreeding system.
Yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and do that and make the changes? So some of the things that we're going to see, there should be about a 4% increase in weaning weights, considering where we're at, and just been using black bulls for a long time. Putting in a crossbreeding system, we should get about a 4% increase in weaning weights. From 4% of 500 is 20, so that take them up to 520. And then on those steer calves, it'll go from 535 to about 551. Some of the other significant things, changes in our pregnancy percentage and survivability of our calves. Let's just change the H2s and H1s. The H2s going from 87.5 to about 92. Then our wean percentage on our calf survivability should go up at least 1.5%. So just put 97.5 to be conservative. And then also in our H1s, go from 91 to 94. Putting in a crossbreeding system, it's going to increase survivability of our cows. So that'll decrease our cull rates. We won't be having to get rid of our cows quite as quickly. They'll last a little bit longer. From 4% in our mature cow cull percent down to 3%, or other younger cows, it's not going to affect. And so now let's take a look back again at our profit and loss. We're not going to see the impacts as much at the beginning, but even in year one, it's from, I think it was 116,437 to 125,791. So that's over a $9,000 increase in profit year one. And then going down, year 5 before was 139,635. And this will bring it up to 164,592. So that's a $25,000 increase in profit each year. As we get out there, we'll begin to see more and more of the benefit of it. But I think year 1 is a 9,354. Year 2, it's over 14,000. Year 3, it's over 18,000. Year 4, over 21,000. And then year 5, a $25,000 increase. That's a 21% increase in annual profit each year. Instead of buying black bulls, you're buying a different breed.
Right.
So that's a cheap, very efficient, effective change, especially considering where you are and really not benefiting from hybrid vigor at the moment, which you could very easily. Let's see, look at enterprise efficiency. The previous enterprise efficiency, year 1 was $40.27. That's brought it up in year 1 about $3 per grazing unit month per unit of grass. Year 5 before was $66.59, and now it's $72. So it's about $6 per grazing unit month. If you look at how many grazing unit months we're using, over 2,000. So that's where we're seeing a lot of our profit, 2,000 times the 6, and then also lower losses. That's where all that increase in profit is coming from.
I don't quite understand that, Rich. What is the cow-calf cattle enterprise efficiency? What is that number?
Great question. So what that represents is how much return for that enterprise, that profit center of the ranch, how much return per unit of grass consumed. The return is $44.11 per unit of grass in year 1, and ultimately $72.40 per unit of grass in year 5. That's really important when you're looking at different alternatives. You compare maybe a cow-calf enterprise, your fall herd with your spring herd, or compare it to a potential stocker operation. How much is this making for me? It's using up my grass. How much is the return? Also, the program will allow you to look at sheep or goats or anything like that. So it helps you to compare apples to apples.
I see. Okay.
Another thing you should maybe consider, are you guys breeding your heifers early or are they breeding at the same time? That makes a lot of sense because, again, it doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
Where you really get dinged is the pregnancy percentage, the conception rate on those H2s.
Yeah.
Those are cows that just calved for the first time. So they're young, they're still growing. And now they calved and now they're lactating and they have to start cycling and breed back within 80 days to stay on track. So if you can give them a 30-day head start like that, makes all the difference in the world. So just doing that, it should at least increase their percentage by 1%. Then look at year 2 profit. So that's, gone up to 144,000. Before it was 143. So it's about $1,000 increase. Not going to see that in the first year, but in the second year, and then go down to year 5, it's about a $1,500 increase. So it's not a huge thing, but in general, that's going to be pretty significant. I think we're pretty conservative, easily could double or triple those numbers. It's just a good management approach and clearly profitable.
The profitability you're looking at a projected sales price, a projected weight for the calves, and then for costs, you're taking the information that we put together, like direct,
as well as all the opportunity costs. We're valuing all these animals. You could cash them out, put it in the bank, or buy T-bills. So we're given a true economic profit number, taking really everything into account, even making you're using your own hay, but that hay has a value. You
right?
Sold it, right? So it's a non-cash direct cost. We also have non-cash direct costs, which mainly that's going to be grazing fees plus hay that comes from the ranch.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're accounting for what we could, lease the ranch out to graze.
Yes.
That profitability.
Then the other thing Chris brought up was the herd's gotten old, kind of a lot of older cows. Looking at kind of replacing those older cows with younger cows over time. One of the things we see there, the productivity of these cows at 89% pregnant, that's a low number. The national average is like 93. So a lot of that is probably just older, unproductive cows. As you start clearing those out, you're going to see an improvement in there. So put in that same number, that 93. And then the wean percentage, that should also go up to like maybe a 1.5, say 97.5. You're going to have better calf viability. Those cows are going to be able to wean a higher percentage of the calves they get pregnant with. Look back again at first enterprise efficiency. So now those numbers have gone up even more. Initially, they were $40.27, and then they went to $44.11 in year 1, and now they're $48.38. That's significant improvement. And then in year 5, because that's where it's really going to begin to grow as those cows transition, $66.59 initially, now it's $78.10. And then look at the profit and loss. So again, where we started at 116,000 in year 1, which isn't really affected that much, but it's already, that jumps $20,000. Then you look at year 5, initially that number, that year 5 profitability was 139,635, and now it's 205. That's an increase in profit of over 47%, $66,100 increase in profit. Crossbreeding system, having those heifers breed up a month early, and then weaning out those older cows over time. So all of that together, that was a 47% increase in profit, over $66,000 per year. That kind of brings up the other thing we wanted to talk about, the value of hay feeding. This is winter feeding on these spring calving cows. The main thing that it's going to impact, and the main thing to watch, is body condition of your cows at calving. That's the single most important factor for breed back. So you don't want those cows getting thin. If we were to change these numbers, say the cows got thin, just in your mature cow pregnancy percentage, and that dropped, say, 10% or something, which definitely can happen, in a rough winter, 83%, and then look at the difference in profit and loss as compared to where we just were. That's a $24,000 drop in year 1. Look at in year,
like a 60,000 and
$60,000 drop. To the degree that you can reserve pasture and basically feed what's called standing hay, so you don't have the equipment costs and the labor costs of putting up the hay and then later bringing it out to feed. If you can reserve winter ground to keep your cows fed better, then you're going to be ahead. And if
Yeah.
you were to look at some body condition charts, you'd like them to be between a 4 and a 5 body condition score on a 1 to 9 scale at calving time. And if they're there, then they breed back well. And if they aren't, it's going to hurt it. If you have to feed them, I'd feed them because you see how big a hit it takes.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very confident. Yeah, it's been an eye opener as well for me. It's been really beneficial for me on making some changes that I think need done. More confidence in doing it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's brought to the surface some things that didn't even come to mind for me. The cost of raising our own replacement heifers is pretty astounding, and then the effect on breedback is huge. I mean, those are the two things that jumped out at me as like, wow, to focus energy, you've got to get all your cows bred, and not having those older cows that won't breed back as easily. Two important components.